G'day, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Harry, and today we're back in the doghouse as usual, and we're looking at tackling a key area on our war on dodgy beers, and that is fermentation temperature control. We'll check out 4 popular temperature controllers. We'll look at the STC 1000 as a DIY option, the Mark II controller from Keg King, the Inkbird ITC-308 WiFi, and lastly, the RAPT Temperature Controller from Kegland. This is going to be a long video and there's lots to cover. So I've left timestamps in the description so that you can jump around as needed, or even better, pause the video now, go grab yourself a cold beverage and watch it from start to finish. If you stick around to the end, I guarantee you'll be able to make an informed decision about what controller suits your needs before handing over any of your hard-earned cash. Speaking of cash, just so you know, this video isn't sponsored. I bought these controllers with my own money and used them over a good stretch of time. So you're getting my no-nonsense, unbiased opinion on each of them. So, you've got your new homebrew kit, but that first batch. Yeah, your mates tell you that it's great, and why wouldn't they? They're getting free beer. But deep down, in places you don't like to talk about, you know that it was a bit of a dud. Sound familiar? A lot of the time, the problem comes down to a few key things, and they are fresh ingredients, clean equipment, solid processes, and keeping your yeast happy. Today, we're focusing on keeping your yeast happy, and that means getting our fermentation temperature control right. Forget ice bricks, wet towels, or wrapping your fermenter in blankets. Let's be honest, anyone who recommends that has either never tried it or is a complete lunatic. There's nothing fun about swapping out ice bricks 3 times a day, or worrying that bargain heat pad you grabbed off eBay is about to send your fermenter to the tropics. Let alone set that sleeping bag that the kids used to go camping with on fire and burn the house down like a dodgy e-scooter. There is a better way that's consistent, hands off, and lets you focus on brewing the best beer you can rather than reenacting the opening scenes to Backdraft. And that is a fermentation temperature controller hooked up to a fridge or a heat belt. It's a complete game changer. It's hands off, it's reliable, and it lets you brew lagers in summer or ales in the dead of winter without stressing out your yeast. Here in North Queensland, where it's as hot as Satan's lunchbox most of the year, temperature control isn't just a nice to have, it's the only way to brew a decent beer. So if you're a new brewer or just looking to upgrade, stick around. We're keeping this beginner friendly. I'm diving into some of the most accessible controllers out there. I'll even show you how to set them up, as I've already decoded the broken English in the instructions for you. Let's hit the bench and check them out. This is what you get when you buy an STC 1000. You get a compact controller that comes with a digital display and a temperature probe. Unlike the other controllers, you'll need to wire this one yourself. It doesn't come pre-assembled, and that's where the DIY factor comes in. We'll dive in and have a look at the wiring in a little bit more detail, and while we're doing that, I'll put the lid back on. I'm going to start this by saying that I'm not a qualified Sparky, so follow my directions at your own risk. May seem intimidating to wire your own controller, but honestly, it's not that hard. And if you follow the directions that are in the cheat sheet, links are below, you shouldn't have any dramas. Look, I'm in Australia, so your wiring standards may be different to ours. Please, if you're in any doubt, consult a qualified electrician in your country. This project involves mains current, and if you get it wrong, it can kill you. Saving a few bucks is not much good if you get zapped. So let's move on to the settings of the STC 1000 itself. The STC 1000, it's a basic temperature controller that works by toggling heating and cooling devices to keep your fermentation at the desired temperature. It's got 2 main outputs, one for heating and one for cooling. plus a temperature sensor that goes into your fermentation chamber as close as possible to your fermenter. So what we'll cover now is you've got it all put together, you've got it plugged in. To turn it on, we're going to push the power button and hold that for 3 seconds. In this mode, if we need to check the set value, we push the up arrow. You can see we're set for 18.2 degrees. To check the hysteresis, we can push the down arrow. You can see that's at 1 degree. All right, to get into the advanced menus, we're going to hold the set button for a couple of seconds. And you can see we're presented, if we scroll through, with F1 to F4. So let's go in F1, hit the set button. This is your set value. So if we wanted to change that to, I don't know, maybe 19 degrees, up we go. We lock in 19 degrees, let go of the set button, and then we need to hit the power button to lock in that temperature. Now if we push the up arrow button again, we can see that we're at 19 degrees. Again, we'll go into the advanced menu. We'll go to F2, hit the set button. This is your hysteresis. So we'll change that to half a degree. So we've only got half a degree temperature swing. Let go of the set button, push the power button to lock it in. Now if we check our hysteresis, we're at half a degree. Again, back in, we'll have a look at F3. This is your maximum cooling delay. So you can see it's set at 5, that's 5 minutes. Honestly, that's pretty good. So, but if we wanted to change it, we can go up to 10. We want to lock in 10. You can hit the power button and back to the main menu. See, we're at 30.5 degrees. Let's go in and see if we can make that more accurate. I know that this needs a 1 degree offset. So hold the set button. F4, which is our offset. See, it's at minus 1.2, so we can toggle that. This needs a 1 degree offset. Okay. Press the power button, and there you go. That's the actual temperature here in the shed. North Queensland in summer, it's as hot as balls. So you can see it's pretty basic, and what makes this such a popular choice, I suppose, is it's incredibly affordable. You can pick these up for around $20 to $30, depending on where you buy it. It's versatile. It can be used for fermentation, kegerators, or even reptile enclosures. It has reliable performance, especially if it's set up correctly. Look, some of the not so greats, it's not plug and play. You need to wire it yourself, which can be tricky for beginners. There's limited features compared to the more advanced controllers. There's no Wi-Fi app control. The instructions that come with it, well, they're not great. That's why cheat sheets like the one in the description, you'll get a lot of value from, and it'll save you a lot of frustration. So who's it for? The STC-1000 is perfect for brewers on a budget who don't mind getting their hands a little bit dirty with some DIY. If you're willing to put in a bit of effort, it's a solid, no-frills option for temperature control. So that's the STC-1000, a budget-friendly DIY solution that gets the job done. It might not have all the bells and whistles of the more expensive controllers, but it's a fantastic entry point for brewers looking to step up their game without breaking the bank. Next up, we'll look at the Mark II Temperature Controller from Keg King. This one is a step up from the DIY STC-1000 in that it's plug and play, making it a great option for brewers who want something easy to use without the hassle of wiring. This is the Mark II Temperature Controller. It's a dual stage controller, meaning it can control both heating and cooling at the same time. It's perfect for maintaining accurate fermentation temperatures year round. The Mark II Temperature Controller has a simple digital display on its front, as well as 4 buttons, a heating and cooling plug on the rear. It also features a built-in pre-wired temperature probe, with a cable measuring 185 centimetres or 73 inches. That gives you decent flexibility when you're setting it up. The power cord is 122 centimetres or 48 inches long, which might be limiting for taller fridges. So you may need an extension cord to reach the wall outlet. The housing itself measures 124 millimetres wide or 4.9 inches, 133 millimetres deep or 5.2 inches, and it's 56 millimetres in height or 2.2 inches. However, there's no rubber pads on the underside, which means it can slide around depending on where the temperature controller is placed. Additionally, there's a small vent section on top of the housing, so you'll need to be cautious about its placement, especially in high humidity environments, as water and electricity don't mix. The setup of the controller is very straightforward. You plug your cooling device or your fridge into one side, and you plug your heating device like a heat belt or heat pad into the heating port. You then insert the temperature probe into your fridge or your fermentation chamber. Finally, you plug the Mark II into a power source and you're good to go. Setting the Mark II is quick and simple, and factory defaults will suit most people. To change the set temperature, we press the set button, and then we use the up and down arrows to adjust your temperature. And then we hit the set again to save. For more advanced settings, we press and hold the set button for 3 seconds. And then you'll see a number of menu items. First one is hysteresis. That's the temperature buffer before the heating changes. If we go up, we can see that that's set at 1. If we want to change that, again, we can dial that in to 0.5, hit the set button, and we're back at E4. To continue cycling through the menu, we just continue to hit the set button. E5, that is the cooling start delay, an additional delay between cooling cycles. E6 is your calibration offset. It adjusts for inaccuracies in your temperature probe. I've got T1, which is the display time between heating and cooling, and that's to prevent any overlap. H1, high temperature alarm. This sets a maximum temperature before an alarm triggers. H2 is a low temperature alarm. This sets the minimum temperature before an alarm triggers. H5, an alarm start delay on power on. This allows for a bit of a grace period before the alarms activate. H6, alarm delay time. This delays the alarm trigger when the temperature exceeds the set limits. And lastly, C1, which is your temperature unit. It switches between Celsius and Fahrenheit. To change it, we push the up button. 00 is Celsius, 01 is Fahrenheit. We'll leave it in Fahrenheit. To lock that in, I'll hit the set button. The Mark II also supports advanced temperature steps, allowing you to program gradual temperature adjustments over time. However, this feature is entirely time-based, meaning you'll need to manually calculate the input timing for each step. While functional, it's not the most user-friendly. Finally, there's a distillation mode, but we won't get into that in this video. Now let's talk about what makes the Mark II stand out and where it has a few limitations. Firstly, the good. It's completely plug and play, no wirings required. It's reliable and straightforward in operation. It's affordable for a dual stage controller. It can usually be picked up for around $50 to $70. And now the not so great. It lacks advanced features like a Wi-Fi or app connectivity. The interface is basic and functional, but it's not as user-friendly as something like the Inkbird. The power cable could be longer for some setups. The response time is fast, and the compressor delay ensures the fridge isn't overworked. It's simple, efficient, and does exactly what you need it to do. The Mark II is ideal for brewers who want an easy, no-fuss temperature controller that doesn't require any DIY skills. It's perfect for managing fermentation temperatures in a fridge or fermentation chamber, and it's reliable enough for year-round use. So that's the Mark II temperature controller from Keg King, a solid mid-range option that balances simplicity and functionality. If you're after something that's easy to set up and just works, this is a great choice. Next, let's move on to the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi. This is one of the most popular controllers amongst home brewers because it's easy to use, it's feature rich, and it comes with the convenience of Wi-Fi connectivity. If you're looking for a hands-off solution that lets you monitor and adjust your temperatures remotely, this could be the one for you. You get the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi controller and a pre-wired temperature probe, 2 built-in power outlets, one for heating, one for cooling. It's plug and play, so there's no wiring required. It's ready to use straight out of the box. This controller is designed to handle heating and cooling simultaneously, just like the Mark II, but where it really shines is the Wi-Fi functionality. With the Inkbird app, you can monitor your fermentation temperature in real time, adjust your target temperature remotely, set alarms and notifications for temperature fluctuations. The controller also has a large digital display, which makes it easy to check your settings at a glance. The controller itself has a 2-year warranty, while the temperature probe only has a 1-year warranty. Dimensions. The body is 140 millimetres, or 5.5 inches, by 68 millimetres, or 2.7 inches, and it is 33 millimetres deep, or 1.3 inches. The socket, this is the Australian version, it is 112 millimetres or 4.4 inches by 46 millimetres or 1.8 inches, and it's 27 millimetres or 1 inch deep. The input power cable length is 1.5 metres. This output cable length is 30 centimetres or 1 foot. The sensor type itself, it's an NTC type sensor, and the sensor cable length is 2 metres or 6.56 feet. The relay contact capacities are the same as for the STC 1000 and the Mark II temperature controller. They've both got 10 amp cooling and heating relays. Navigating the menu on the Inkbird ITC-308 is pretty straightforward, but here's a breakdown of what each does. To set your temperature, all we need to do, say if we wanted to set that to 18, we push the set button. TS is temperature set. We'll set that for 18. Hit the set button to lock it in. And away we go. HD is the heating differential. So that is the temperature buffer for the heating to kick in. So we'll set that for 0.5. CD, which is the cooling differential. That's the temperature buffer for the cooling to kick in. You can see it's set for 2. We'll go 0.5 again. Hit the set button to lock that in. AH is your alarm high. We don't need to adjust that. Alarm low sets the minimum temperature limit before the alarm sounds. PT is the probe temperature compensation delay. It's a delay to protect your cooling equipment from short cycling. And lastly, CA is your calibration. So that is the temperature offset. CF is centigrade or Fahrenheit. And then we go back to set. Once you've made changes, we push the set for each setting and the controller automatically exits after 10 seconds of inactivity. To connect the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi to your network, you start by downloading the Inkbird Smart app from the App Store on iOS or the Google Play Store on Android. The next thing you do is create an account. You open the app, create a new account, or log in if you already have one, and then you enter it into pairing mode. To enter pairing mode, you press and hold the Wi-Fi button on the controller for 3 to 5 seconds, and you'll see app lights up, and that means the Wi-Fi is currently looking for a connection. In the app, you should now see the ITC-308 Wi-Fi listed as an active device. You tap on it to access it in real time. If you're having dramas, you need to ensure your phone's connected to the same 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network during setup. If pairing fails, reset the controller by holding the Wi-Fi button down again, or you can try placing the controller close to your router during setup for a stronger signal. The ITC-308 is designed to be user-friendly, but it's worth noting that while it's great for basic temperature control, it lacks advanced features like step programming found in other controllers like the RAPT. What makes the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi a standout option? Let's break it down. Firstly, it's plug and play and it's super easy to set up. It has Wi-Fi connectivity for remote monitoring and control. It's affordable with prices usually around $70 to $90. It's compatible with a wide range of heating and cooling devices. And now the not so great. Wi-Fi setup can sometimes be tricky, especially if you've got a dual band router. The temperature probe cable is on the shorter side, which might limit the placement in larger fermentation chambers. There's no advanced temperature programming options like step temperatures. So who's it for? The Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi is perfect for home brewers who want a reliable, easy to use controller with the added convenience of remote monitoring. Whether you're just starting out or looking for a step up from a basic controller, this is a great all-rounder. So that's the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi, a user-friendly temperature controller with modern features that makes brewing a little less stressful. Next, let's take a look at the RAPT Temperature Controller from Kegland. The RAPT Temperature Controller is a smart, feature-packed device that's perfect for accurate brewing control, whether you're fermenting or you're mashing. Now, I could make an entire video just covering all the features of this controller, but that's way beyond the scope of today's video. Instead, I'll be touching the wave tops and giving you a solid overview of what makes this controller unique. The RAPT controller is compact and durable, measuring 165 millimeters wide, or 6.5 inches, 125 millimeters deep, and 60 millimeters high. That's 2.4 inches. It features a bright, easy to read LCD colour screen and physical buttons located along the bottom row here. That's an excellent choice for brewing environments where wet hands can make touchscreens frustrating to use. With relay capacities of up to 10 amps per socket, there's also a heavy-duty version available that can handle up to 15 amps. The RAPT's built to handle a wide range of brewing equipment. Its standout features are its PID control, which offers precise, steady temperature regulation, which is perfect for applications like mashing or step fermentation. Unlike basic on-off controllers, PID gradually adjusts the power to avoid overshooting or undershooting your target temperatures. It's perfect for heating hot liquor tanks or for mashing. For brewers coming from a controller like the STC-1000, the RAPT feels like it's stepping out of the Stone Age and into the cockpit of a space shuttle. While it's very advanced in its functions, it's nothing to be afraid of. Everything's in plain English. There are no cryptic letters or numbers to get your head around. Getting started is easier than you might think. You connect your heating and cooling plug, put your temperature probe into your fridge, close to your fermenter as possible, and then you plug in the controller and power it up. Let's do that. So we're going to set a target temperature. To do that, we're set at 1 degree. It's been cold crashing, and we just simply raise the temperature up. You can see down the bottom here is my target temperature. Now it's at 27.4. It's a little bit cooler today out here in the shed. If I set that for 28, you can see the heating icons just come on. And that's it. There's a number of advanced menu functions. To get there, you hit the enter button, and you can see you're presented with a number of menu items. They're all in plain English and really well documented in the instructions. Just like the other controllers, if we drop into the settings menu, you can change your hysteresis and a whole bunch of other functions right on the controller itself. But where this really shines is when connected to the cloud. The Wi-Fi setup is also pretty simple. Once you've turned on the controller, you follow the steps in the user manual. It's really well documented. From there, you log onto the RAPT portal via your computer or use the mobile app to set up the Wi-Fi. And once connected, you can manage your brewing profiles, monitor your progress remotely, and receive real-time alerts. So let's go over and have a quick look at the RAPT portal now. So the first thing we're going to do is go to rapt.io, scroll down about halfway, click Get RAPT Portal. I've already logged in, so I don't need to do that. You should come straight to your dashboard. Let's have a look at some of my devices. Let's have a look at one of my fermentation chambers. It should be set at 18 degrees. It's got a Belgian in it at the moment. The graph along the top shows us where the temperature's been for the last 24 hours. To change that, you can drop down, change that to 16. Click Set. We should end up with a green confirmation box in the right hand corner. Yep. We'll just change that back. Again, look for that green box. It means the temperature controller's been set. Let's have a look at some profiles. So we drop into profiles. You can see there's a fermentation profile for a pale ale. We'll go back. Let's have a look at a mash profile. Okay, and I'll just click the edit button. You can see there's a number of options there because I've clicked edit, and some more advanced options. If you hit that radio button, you can change anything you like in there. Just make sure you save it before you go back. There's also some other tools that they've included. Firstly, it's an ABV calculator. There's also a beer colour correction tool or calculator, so you can convert recipes. There's a dilution tool for ABV adjustment. And lastly, a calibration tool for hydrometers. If you get lost, there's always the comprehensive help file that really is very good. The iOS app has just been optimised for use on mobile devices. Well, that's the tour. So the Gourd has unmatched flexibility, cloud-based scheduling, and the ability to monitor remotely, making it ideal for brewers who want a complete control without needing to babysit their setup. Detailed data logging. It's perfect for brewers who want to fine-tune their process and troubleshoot past batches. Intuitive interface. The RAPT web platform is well designed, making remote adjustments is simple and quick. And lastly, the ecosystem advantage. If you've already invested in Kegland's RAPT products, this controller ties it all together beautifully. But it's not all perfect. Here are things that aren't so great. Firstly, the learning curve. The advanced features can feel overwhelming, especially for beginners. The cloud platform's intuitive, but it does require some initial setup. Price. At the higher end of the price range, the RAPT may be overkill for brewers looking for a basic temperature controller. However, you really do get what you pay for. And lastly, dependence on connectivity. While it works offline, its real strengths lie in its Wi-Fi and cloud features. If you're in a spotty Wi-Fi area, like a tin shed, this may not be the best choice. So who's the RAPT controller for? If you're an experienced brewer looking for precision control over fermentation or mashing, or someone who values remote monitoring and advanced features, the RAPT is a fantastic option. I personally prefer it as I'm away with work a lot and I can adjust the temperatures of my fermentation remotely from anywhere. However, if you're starting out or you want something more budget friendly, you might want to look at simpler options. So there it is. In today's video, we've taken an in-depth look at 4 temperature controllers for home brewers. And together, we've probably discovered the cure for insomnia. We've looked at the STC-1000, a budget-friendly DIY option for those that don't mind some wiring. We've looked at the Mark II temperature controller from Keg King, a simple, reliable, plug-and-play controller with some basic functionality. We've also checked out the Inkbird ITC-308 WiFi, a popular choice with Wi-Fi connectivity for remote monitoring and control. And lastly, we looked at the Space Shuttle of controllers, the RAPT Temperature Controller from Kegland, a high-end feature-packed controller for precision brewing and advanced programming. Each of these has its own strengths, and the right choice ultimately for you will depend on your brewing style, your budget, and ultimately how hands-on you want to be. Which one would I choose? If I could only have one, I'd personally go with the Inkbird ITC-308 Wi-Fi. It's affordable, reliable, and gives me the convenience of remote control without being overly complicated. I think it strikes the perfect balance between functionality and easy use, especially for most home brewers. That said, if you're on a tight budget, the STC1000 is a great DIY option. And if you're someone who wants all of the bells and whistles, then the RAPT Temperature Controller is hard to beat for its advanced features, especially for the price. Look, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you won't miss out when I've got the next video ready for you. I've included unsponsored links to all of the controllers in the description below, so you can check them out and decide which one's right for you. And if you're just getting started with brewing, make sure to check out my other videos for tips, tricks, and DIY projects to up your brewing game. Again, thanks for watching. And as always, remember, life's too short to have to firefight your setup or drink dodgy beers. I'll see you on the next one. Till then, cheers. Oh yeah.